Hey guys, this video is a spoiler heavy, specified for spoilers for the movie Black Panther. So if you have not seen it, get away from the computer, turn it off, whatever you gotta do. Do not watch this video if you have not seen it. This is my spoiler review for Black Panther for the people who have seen it and just want to talk about it or hear what I have to say about it.
I've seen men build weapons that I couldn't even imagine. I've seen aliens drop from the sky.
Yeah.
But I have never seen anything like this. How much more are you hiding?
Hold up.
Finally, we have a movie that is different. As much as I love the MCU, all of the movies are somehow the same. And the Black Panther is gonna change everything. It really is. I liked it. I liked it a lot. In case you missed my non-spoiler review, I think that it was a fantastic piece of film. I think it was a fantastic film, fantastic piece of art. Yes, that sounds better. So first of all, I have the actors. The actors did an incredible job. You know, we see Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa. We see Lupita Nyong'o. Now, I'm gonna look up how to say that later, but this is the first movie I've seen with her acting in it. I'm used to her voicing. So, like in Star Wars, you know, she plays Maz, and in the Jungle Book, she plays I can't think of her name, but Mowgli's wolf mother. And she did great. She played Nakia in this movie, and she slayed. That girl was gorgeous. Oh my god, she was fantastic. We have Michael B. Jordan, who probably gave the performance of his life. I love Michael B. Jordan, but normally I'm used to his probably more of a comedic actor. In this, he was not that. I mean, he had some comic relief, yes. He had a few jokes here and there, but he did an impeccable job being the villain. And some people are saying that Eric Killmonger, or Michael B. Jordan's character, is the best MCU villain. And I'm not sure how much I agree with it. I agree he is very high up there, you know, and the MCU doesn't have a whole lot of villains because a lot of them share the same one. You know, there's Red Skull, there's Thanos, and I think that Eric Killmonger and Loki are kind of in the same boat, even though Loki, I don't know if he really counts as a villain anymore, but I would say that Eric Killmonger is the best character to become a villain, because of that history he has with his dad, and because of how much time he has spent his whole life, you know, trying to punish Wakanda for what they did to his dad and himself, and how miserable his life was because of what they did. And I liked that there was no repentance for him. Like, he stuck to him being a villain. There was no, oh, I might come back. He's like, no, let me die a villain at that sunrise or sunset, whichever it was. He decided there that he doesn't want to be like everyone else. He doesn't want to be like T'Challa. He wants to be himself, and he wants them to know that they did wrong. And he dies there because he refuses to apologize. He knows, because he feels what he did was right, and that's, to an extent, in his eyes, anyone would think that, because of everything that he went through. So his character, maybe his character development and his character's storyline makes the best for a villain, yes, but I would say him and Loki are probably in competition with each other for the best villain. But I'm also very biased because I love Loki. I love Loki as a villain. and as a good guy. I think that Loki's character is amazing, but that's an entirely different video. Eric Killmonger, though, one of the top. I would agree, yes. And that was what threw me off, because I hadn't seen any trailers. So his character coming in and being the villain, when I was totally expecting it to be Andy Serkis's character, who was barely in the movie. And he was expected, like everyone thought, oh yeah, that's the villain, obviously. When, boom, out of nowhere, Michael B. Jordan's character, Eric, just comes in with his head. Okay. And he did great. This is a villain that you genuinely feel bad for. And it took a lot of the politics. The politics of this movie were not what everyone thought they were going to be. Everyone thought it was going to be about... I'm trying to find a way to put this where it doesn't seem offensive. Everyone thought it would be about race, when I think that it focused on the kids and the people in the projects, like Oakland, like in the terrible neighborhoods, which, yes, that is a majority of African Americans. Like, not a lot of white people are in that area. And this sounds so bad, but I mean it in the least disrespectful way I could possibly mean it. But that's what it was it talked about how we are doing nothing to help these kids that are growing up without parents or without fathers or without any sort of guidance that would help them. The kids that basically have nothing. Also, this movie has a lot of female empowerment, I would say. Almost every lead in here is a woman, and they emphasize heavily the idea that every king needs his queen, with the romantic interest, Nakia, with the romantic interest of Nakia, and also the sister, who's a genius and the technologically, like, advancement the head of all of it. The mom, the queen. You have the head warrior, who is doing everything she can for her country and is the most respected warrior in the whole movie. And they really put women on a pedestal, as they should be for this movie. You know, they are great. I think that there was more praising women in this movie than any other movie I've seen in a while. And I think that that's a reason why people are really going to enjoy this movie. Not because it emphasizes the women, but because it doesn't put them down. You know, it puts them at the equal level and without shoving it down your throat. It is very clean cut, very well done. And the storyline was so concrete. This movie was one of the most concrete stories I have seen in a long time. I see a lot of movies with plot holes left and right. Even if I love the movie, I can be like, I don't know about the story. This one, solid fortress. But while it has all of the politics in it, it is still a superhero movie. You know, you still see all of this technology of Wakanda come forth to present this weapon that is, you know, the Black Panther. It's a weapon, it's a defense, he is a king in every sense of being a king. He looks out for his people, and it's his character and his character build, T'Challa's, is phenomenal. And I think it was just a brilliantly done movie. That being said, I want to get into the very few things that I did not like about this movie. The story itself, it wasn't easy for me to get emotionally attached, because usually with these Marvel movies, I've either read the comics or I know the hero or the protagonist very well. So I am already emotionally involved in it. So with me, I and most movies I will find a reason to cry. I am so into the movies that if something happens that I would be upset if it happened to me, I will cry. But with this movie, I only cried once, and that was when they called the rhinos in for battle. I was crying, worried that a rhino was going to die, but I love rhinos. Rhinos are like giant dogs. They really are. They just want to be loved, and they're fantastic. So when I thought that a rhino was going to die, I started crying. So I think my emotional attachment to this movie was not great. I didn't feel everything that the characters, were feeling. But I think that is something to do with the fact that I've never known this character. Other than in Civil War, I've never known any of these characters or anything to do with them. And so my emotional attachment was not very good for this movie. But I think that was the emotional connection that I had was one of the only things that I would have to say I didn't like about the movie. And I think that was more of a personal experience thing, because that's something that could be different, that will be different with every single person. So from a movie standpoint, it was incredible. But from me personally, that was my only thing that made my rating go down from a 5-star to a 4.5, which even then is not that big of a deal. I didn't like some of the humor. Some of the humor felt really forced or too cheesy. I didn't really like the character of T'Challa's sister. I don't know. There was just something that I didn't like about her, and I can't quite put my finger on it. I just didn't. All of her jokes made me kind of mad, but maybe it is because they felt forced. But this is another thing with that emotional connection, is that could be something that the character would totally do. Like when I watched Deadpool, Deadpool is my favorite hero. So when I see Deadpool, I know what kind of humor I'm expecting from him. So when I get hit with that humor, I'm like, oh, that's so Deadpool. Or here's a more recent one, The Last Jedi. A lot of people had problems with the humor in The Last Jedi, whereas I love Star Wars, and when I watched it, all of the humor were things that they would totally do. The jokes would be, that's so Luke Skywalker, that's so Han Solo. That's something that they would do, so because I know the characters. Now, this movie, I don't think I knew the characters as well, so I couldn't tell you which jokes fit with them better. So it just felt cheesy and forced, but not enough for me to dislike the movie. The last problem that I had with it was some of the dialogue. Some of the dialogue was so unnatural, and I don't know if it was the actors or the script itself. There was some dialogue in it that it didn't fit in at the right time. Like, it's not something that someone would actually say. So that was my problem with it. But other than those 3 very, very minor problems that amount to my 0.5 star difference, the movie was great. My very last thing, I don't know if I said this before, but my very last thing for real is it seemed very long. It seemed very long, and there was a point in there that I was checking my watch, wondering when it was going to end. Because I think it was like 3/4 of the way through, I was getting bored. But then it picked back up, and we got back into the action scenes. The action scenes, whoa. The action scenes were absolutely wild. Like, my heart's beating on my chest. I'm sweating in these action scenes. Even though I wasn't emotionally connected to these characters, I was emotionally connected to these action scenes. They were so bizarre, and everything was, there's so much going on, but there's still enough. It's like just enough. Because if you got too little going on, you're going to be like, okay, whatever. You got too much going on, it's just going to hurt your head. But there's enough going on that you follow all of it, but you're also excited. It gets you excited, and it keeps you awake, which is what I needed, especially at that point in the movie. You see classic, I talked a little bit about Andy Serkis is in it. Forrest Whitaker is also in it, and he's a legend as is, and his character was a crucial part of the storyline as well. He plays such a minor role, but it is one that helps to explain all of the history of the movie, not only of Wakanda's, but of T'Challa's family and like his dad. We talked about what a great job Rachel Morrison did and how her shots were just perfect. She nailed every part of it, and I wouldn't be surprised if she gets an Oscar for this movie. The costumes and the research done for this film was so extensive, and everything, like you see the guy with the lip ring, and people are like, oh, that's weird, but that's what the heritage was. That's all of the traditions and everything that Wakanda is. They had such a great research team look into this tribe that Wakanda is based on from Kenya. And I think that was another thing that made the movie so good, is because it's based on this real group of people that you've never heard of, but that are there, and you get to see a little bit of what they do, like their fighting rituals and things that would make them king. The different tribes, the different clothes, the different techniques, everything that they do was so in-depthly researched. Last thing, the music. Music fit very well. Kendrick Lamar produced an album for it, and I have downloaded the album. I really enjoy it. The music was very well placed. Yeah, that's what there was the African music when they were in Wakanda and doing rituals and such. But there was also like the hip hop while they're in Oakland. That's very fitting. And it didn't feel like a music video like you would expect it to. It felt like it belonged there. And I think that not only was the music well written, but it was well placed and well edited. And that's all I have for the Black Panther spoiler review.
What happens now determines what happens to the rest of the world.
You will not be able to stay home, brother. You will not be able to plug in, turn on, and cop out. Wakanda forever! The revolution will not be televised. Let's have some fun. The revolution will be live.
Are there any movies you guys think I should see? Message me. I'm going to be doing reviews of every movie that I watch, old or new. So let me know, and hopefully we'll have some really cool stuff in store for you guys within this next month. Catch you later. Have a great day.
When 900 years old you reach, look as good you will not.